The truth is, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will not win the Super Bowl. Yes, they beat the shit out of the 49ers and the Miami Dolphins, but they're still overrated. Y'all keep on gassing up the Ravens and setting them up for failure just like the 49ers fans are doing to Brock Purdy. And when the Ravens get exposed in the playoffs to a sorry ass team like the fucking Colts, then everyone will be pointing their fingers at Lamar Jackson. Y'all should just be happy that y'all had a good season and you won your division. Because y'all have these big expectations for Lamar Jackson, and when he doesn't deliver, everyone's gonna say fuck Lamar. Well, I say fuck John Harbaugh. You know what? Actually, I got the wrong one. Fuck Jim Harbaugh and his ugly ass face. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe. And go into the comments and let me know who your pick is to win the Super Bowl this year. Unless it's the fucking Cowboys. Then just don't say nothing at all. And if you're gonna say the 49ers, just leave this video. With that being said, let's just get into the video. Ravens fans, if you think you're really gonna win the Super Bowl this year, not only are you wrong, but you're fucking delusional. The Ravens have a good team, but not a great team. Yes, you have a good defense. Yes, you have a good offense. And yes, you have a good coach. But that doesn't mean you're good enough to win the Super Bowl. Speaking of a good coach, name another coach who beat their brother in the Super Bowl and sent his ass back down a level to coach college. That's fucking crazy. Well, we know two things are for certain. John Harbaugh was the most favorite son in the family, and Jim Harbaugh was the ugliest member in the family. Now enough of being childish. I honestly just feel like Lamar Jackson is going to need a lot more help if he wants to win the Super Bowl. Yes, his receivers have started to step up, especially Flowers, but I do feel like he needs more weapons. What will the Ravens do when another team finds a way to contain Lamar Jackson? They can't just lean on Zay Flowers or Mark Andrews. Eventually, Odell's old ass is going to have to step up. Or maybe they'll have to get the ball to Rashad Bateman. In terms of rushing, when it comes to the running backs, Gus Edwards is going to have to step up. And Justice Hill. It makes no sense that Lamar Jackson has more rushing yards than both of them. But like I was saying before, the Ravens have a really good defense that will keep them in ball games. So as long as the Ravens find a way to put points on the board, they should be perfectly fine. Now the real question is, who will y'all be seeing in the playoffs? I know everyone has been seeing this and hearing this on ESPN, but what if Joe Flacco and the Browns actually find a way to beat the Ravens? I feel like that shit would shock the world. One, because y'all all forgot about Flacco. Y'all all doubted Flacco, and you never believed in Flacco. And you just may get punished by Flacco, just like the Jets, who released Flacco and are stuck with a Tommy Hilfiger model and a 40-year-old broken down Aaron Rodgers. Flacco is playing great, making the Browns contenders, and demanding his respect. And I'm happy for him because nobody believes in him, as if he's not a Super Bowl champion. The Ravens drafted Lamar because they thought Flacco lost a step and it was time to move on to someone new. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like Flacco never had the right pieces around him, and if he was traded to a team with potential, he would have did something with his opportunity. Hopefully the Ravens and the Browns do see each other in the playoffs because I believe it will be a great and close game. And you just never know what could happen. Other than the Browns or a sorry low seed like the Jags, who else could upset the Ravens in the playoffs? Two other teams pop up to mind. The Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Believe what you want, but Kansas City is still the scariest team in the AFC. Not just because they have Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, or Travis Kelce, but because they have experience. And the Kansas City Chiefs are technically the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. Regardless of how bad they are in the regular season, they'll always come alive in the playoffs. So don't be surprised if the Chiefs upset the Ravens. As for Miami, I'm not so sure since Lamar owns them. But you never know. The Dolphins' offense is dangerous. And if Concussion Boy and No Neck have a good night, they just may shock the world and beat Lamar and the Ravens. Now what would happen if they did make it to the Super Bowl? Even if the Ravens did make it to the Super Bowl, that means they would have to run into the 49ers or maybe the Eagles. Okay, so the Ravens did abuse the 49ers earlier in the season, but would they do the same in the Super Bowl? I don't know. I feel like Brock Purdy just had a bad night and the 49ers just couldn't get anything to go their way. So if the 49ers and the Ravens did meet in the Super Bowl, that would be very interesting, because I know the 49ers would play a lot better. As for the Eagles, I don't know how that would go down. For some reason, I feel like the Eagles would just bully the Ravens. But like I said, you won't know until they play each other. And let's talk about Lamar Jackson in the MVP race. Everyone is expecting Lamar to win the MVP, and honestly, I'm not so sure. There's only 3 other people in the race that maybe have a chance of winning the MVP. And that would be Dak, Purdy, and McCaffrey. Now Dak has had a good year, but has had a couple questionable games. And so has Purdy. But after throwing that many interceptions and getting beat down by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, I think it's safe to say that Purdy's not winning the MVP. And for McCaffrey, I feel like the only reason why we put him in the MVP race is because it seems like he scores a touchdown every single game. And ever since he left the Panthers, he's been back to his old self. But if we're being realistic, Lamar should still win the MVP. I'm just not so sure that he'll be a Super Bowl champion. Maybe the Ravens could beat a low seed in the playoffs. Maybe the Ravens can beat Kansas City, and just maybe the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. They still have to go out there and play football. For everyone who stayed to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you for your support. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and join the family. And also let me know in the comments who you think will win the MVP and also the Super Bowl. Until next time.